We are just days away from week one kickoff against the Carolina Panthers. Welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee, coming to you from the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio. If you have any medical needs, make sure you check them out. They have Dr. James Andrews now, and he's a renowned surgeon, so he'll get you right if you have any sports medicine type injuries or related issues that you need to get right. And we are coming to you from our studio. It is up here on Veterans Memorial Boulevard, right next door to Matt Bauer's Ford dealership. If you're in the market for a new car, make sure you check out Matt at one of his many locations throughout the region. Great prices, great customer care, great car buying experience. They will get you right and get you on the road in the car of your dreams. All right, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to get into everything you need to know for that week one game. We're going to break it all down. So stick with us after this quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute is a regional leader in orthopedic and sports medicine innovation and treatment, caring for both our active community and the New Orleans Saints. To learn more, visit oshner.org/sportsmed. Long live you. The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out.
It's good! The Saints score! Saints score!
Score big with Saints Score. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawings for cool Saints prize packages. Play Saints Score scratch-offs from the lottery.
NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Shaheed Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. Their agents are born and raised in the area and understand our community's unique needs and the homeowners insurance crisis our residents are currently in. At Shaheed Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. They know your time is valuable, which is why they work diligently to provide you with the quotes as soon as possible. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Shaheed Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. When we couldn't find someone to insure our house because of the big oak tree growing over top, Shaheed worked until they found someone that would work with us and give us the protection that we need to feel safe in our new home. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Shaheed. That's 504-326-6526. Shaheed Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com. All right, let's get into the show.
Welcome into the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio here on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. It is now time for this episode of NewOrleans.Football. I'm Brandon Thomas, joined by Mike Triplett and Nick Underhill. Let's get into our first segment presented by New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Stage is set. It's week one. Panthers at Saints. Carolina, they've retooled basically their whole team around Bryce Young. Which matchup is most important in this week 1 matchup?
It's Clowney versus whoever he's lined up over. I asked some guys that cover the Panthers, and they expect right tackle, but we've never really seen it because it's game 1. So he'll probably be lined up over Trevor Penning. I think that's the most important matchup of the game. And I think there's some ways to kind of help with this a little bit. I think it's going to be imperative for them to make him play run defense. So I would start out this game running the ball directly at him, not giving a damn if I gain yards on it or not. But I would make him have to defend the run every single play, have it in the back of his mind, slow him down that half step, and find a way to counteract that. But that is matchup number 1, 2, 3. Like, that is the most important thing in this game to me, bar none.
No question. I've got a favorite matchup that we'll get to if you don't take it.
Okay.
But I don't want to steal 2 at once. If I'm going most important, beyond the one Nick said, Ike Ekwonu, the Panthers left tackle, is going through his own Trevor Penning storyline. He was the 6th overall pick in 2022, and he was a disaster last year for this team too. Their whole offensive line was a disaster. They spent a ton of money in the middle, Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt in free agency. They want to protect Bryce Young. But the year before they drafted Bryce Young, they drafted Ike Ekwonu, and they need to make him work, and the Saints need to tee off on him in his first game, trying to prove, hey, you don't have to move on from me. So very similar to these guys that were both drafted in the first round in 2022. We can't wait to see what Chase Young looks like. Yeah. Obviously, I think we'll see Granderson there sometimes, Cam Jordan there sometimes, Chase Young there a lot. I think the Saints need to do to the Panthers what everyone's worried the Panthers are going to do to the Saints.
Yeah, I think uncorking Chase Young on Ike will be huge because you get to see what he's able to do in a full game time situation. That was one of mine, but my main one right now is Chris Olave. Yeah. He's teed off on the Panthers both times they played him last season. He had a really good one against Von Bell. It's a highlight that they constantly run on social media like, wow, this is like the Chris Olave catch at this point out of many that he made last year. And then Dante Jackson, he hit him with a mean stiff arm. Those 2 players aren't there anymore. So now we kind of have to see how he's going to develop because these are big matchups for him in the first couple of games of the season, like it is for the whole team. I talked to him earlier and kind of asked him, do you think about these things? Do you kind of have a list of people that you're going to match up against? He was like, yeah, I do. I didn't want to outright call it a hit list, but basically that's what it is. You got targets on the board. You just got to hit them.
Well, J.C. Horn's the guy, and that was my favorite matchup that I said. Probably most important, too. I think Chris Olave is going to be huge in this game, but J.C. Horn was drafted right next to Pat Surtain, who just became briefly the highest paid corner in the NFL until that changed today. But Horn wants that contract next, and he battled injury, so he hasn't reached mega stardom quite like Pat Surtain has, but that's what he's supposed to be. That's what he's trying to establish this year. And Olave versus Horn could be, the next Marshawn versus Mike Evans in this division if Horn lives up to his billing. So I'm excited to watch that for sure.
A little bit, but the way they play defense, it's not the same. It's not the same as Marshawn versus Mike Evans because that's a one-on-one matchup. That's man defense. That's power on power. Yeah. They play zone more than any team in the league. They brought back Avero. They changed their head coach. They kept their DC. They play zone at a higher rate than any other team in the NFL, and I think that's going to create a lot of space, and they can get underneath it. Like, they kind of sit back, too, in their shell. Like, it's not – they give up a lot underneath, and if you want to be a team that gets a lot of yak yardage, like, this is a game where you could do it, and I think it's a matchup that kind of sets up for a little bit of that. But they do have a good secondary. J.C. Horn's good. Mike Jackson's good. Xavier Woods is a solid player. Jordan Fuller is a good player. They have some good guys in that secondary. Now, like, some of the impression of them is inflated because, again, they didn't get thrown on a lot last year. But I like this matchup for being able to get the ball in space and be able to make plays. And if they're going to be that, I think that there's a lot of opportunity in this game. My matchup, I'll flip it on the other side. Let's see Marshawn against anybody, but Deontay, like it could be anyone. I just want to see Marshawn Lattimore play football again. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be exciting. It's been a while. I like to see him on the field. He's a good player to watch.
My next one is DA versus Dave Canales. Canales was brought in here to be the QB whisperer for Bryce Young, like he was for Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith each of the past 2 years. And DA admitted this week, Dave Canales came into the Superdome with Tampa Bay just 4 weeks into his his career as Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator, and they took it to him really good last year. What I'm reading, especially, I know David Newton likes to use this phrase that covers the Panthers for ESPN, but I'm sure they're all reporting it, that they're coaching Bryce Young to get rid of the ball in 2.7 seconds or less. Like, that is their method for making Bryce Young work better, not getting sacked 62 times like he was last year. And I want to see how they can counteract that. Can they make him hold the ball through disguise, as they often do? Is he going to have to go to his second and third read so he can't get rid of the ball quickly?
A matchup that I'm excited about, this guy flashed during camp when he was healthy, and it's Pete Werner. He was looking really good. He was high on the list for camp MVP next to Alontae Taylor at some point. Yeah. But they just ruled out Tommy Tremble, the tight end for the Panthers today. He's going to be going up against a rookie speed, rookie mentality, just reckless and going out there. So seeing how Connor Werner could possibly match up with that is something that I'm interested in.
Jatavian Sanders, is that the right name?
From Texas.
But yeah. People are kind of excited about what he can do. But yeah, like, he's like a mid-round rookie, and he's going to be their number one in week one.
Just the linebacker group kind of as a whole, just to see where their speed is to kind of counteract different things is something that I'm excited about. Let's go on to our next segment presented by Shawberry Insurance, the Earhart Agency. A.T. Perry, he was out at practice. He was not out at practice today. I'm sorry. He was not out of practice today. His hand is something that's been bothering him the last 2 days. He had it was like a little glove type thing. I don't know what it was, but he's trying to recover from that. But outside of, if he can't go outside of Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Cedric Wilson, do we see any other receiver kind of stepping up in that role?
Yeah. Glove. It was definitely a glove. The word cast was introduced in DA's press conference. It definitely was not a cast.
Nah.
The nature of the injury would not require a cast. It's a very minor thing, I'm told. I don't think it could be something that affects this week. It might not, but if it affects this week, it probably shouldn't affect next week. It's just a bruise. Like, I don't think it's anything that's significant. Like, there was a hit on his hand and that was it. Like, so definitely not casted. I think he just had a glove on probably to help with swelling or something. Like, it didn't look like it looked like a glove that you'd like work out in or cut the tips
like
off
a circulation,
so you could still use your phone like when it's 24 degrees out, but you want to keep your phone warm.
Sure.
It didn't look like anything crazy. So yeah, he told me it's not a big deal. So I don't think it's anything to worry about at this point. But yeah, if he can't go, then I think you see St. Brown come up, do a little bit more. We don't really know what the rotation's going to be anyhow. So it's new, but I don't think the situation with him is significant.
Well, I would be surprised if he plays, though, just because I think it was like kind of such a tie. I mean, I would have assumed Perry was their fourth receiver, but it was so close between him. I mean, when we were doing our roster projections between him and Bub Means and Mason Tipton and Equanimeous St. Brown, that I think missing both Thursday and Friday's practice might be a decision maker for the coaches, alone. But I got to admit, I don't have a great feel for who I think. Like, I always tend to think there's usually four receivers, that actually become part of the game plan. Maybe a fifth will be active or whatever. And I don't know, is Bub Means ready? Is Mason Tipton ready? Does Equanimeous St. Brown get activated and leapfrog both of them in snaps? I almost feel like I'd bet on St. Brown in that mix. I mean, maybe Bub Means is ready. It's hard to think Mason Tipton is after all the time he missed. But like, if I told you one of these guys was going to catch 3 passes in the game, who would you guys guess that's going to be? Bub?
I would throw Perry on that list. I would.
Yeah,
I think you try to. I would try if he's ready to play by Sunday. I would get him out on the field.
I asked him. I said, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be all right." So yeah, if he can go, he could go. But for the sake of the question, who do I expect to make an impact? It would be between Perry and St. Brown, just those body style type of guys.
I don't know. I don't know if they try to use Tipton in some Xavier Worthy type plays too, just to get more speed on the field.
Sure.
We have no idea what they're going to do with any of these guys. Tipton is so fast, so if there's a way to even have him on the field for 3 or 4 plays, I get him active and I get him out there for those plays. It's a fun player, and having that kind of speed.
We saw the value in that last night. That's a really good point.
Yeah, he's fast. He's speed. Jets.
Just like, I mean, when Rashid Shaheed finally got on the field as a rookie a couple years ago, he scored a touchdown in each of his first 2 plays. It was like, why didn't you have 9 plays for him in the game plan? 18.
Our next segment is presented by Aaron Rose. Are there any other position battles or lineup decisions that kind of we're looking for on Sunday? I know I have a couple. What are y'all?
Yeah, go ahead, start, man.
I think Matthew Hayball, seeing him going out there is pretty exciting to see what he can do. And also, I don't want what's up, bro?
I wasn't expecting the punter at the top of the list.
Yeah, bro. I had to go with the punter.
Hopefully, he doesn't need to get used at all for the Saints' sake. But I'm not going to the bathroom when he's not.
I just want to see it. I want to see this guy. He came in. He won the battle.
That's fair.
Rizzy said yesterday,
he
straight up won
I wasn't ready for it. Yeah,
hey, man,
he's kind of fighting for his life too. They just brought in 2 guys, so the pressure's on him. So yeah, I mean, it is a storyline. It's a thing. Yeah.
I got another. I don't want empty the clip already, bro.
Segment. This is your segment.
All right, still with special teams. I'm going with Shaheed and seeing him in this new kick return. We've talked about it all off season. It's been a big point. We've watched a couple of preseason games, and then last night we had the game, and we saw no real oh man, this kickoff is going to change the way football is played. So if we see the coach who helped institute it with his top returner back there, let's see what they can do.
Who's next to him? Who's the other one you think?
Probably Taysom.
I don't think this rule is going to work how they want it to work. No. I mean, we saw last night they were still kind of just booting it out of the back of the end zone. Yeah. I would also just give up the extra 5 yards to not have to risk giving up more by defending a return. My strategy would be just to boot it out of the back of the end zone. Okay. Because if you screw up one time, just even the math on that, like the net over that just isn't. It isn't those 5 yards. I don't think are important enough. I think they're going to have to change that at some point if they really want this to be something that just brings about more change. But I have no idea. Like, we'll find out. It's too soon to have analytics on it or whatever. But I guarantee those 5 yards versus the risk of more, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it to me.
To me, it was billed as like a pre-first down. Like, okay, this is an offensive play. But I haven't seen, like you said, they're just booting it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, because the risk is just the risk is higher than it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense here. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. We've seen one game, but I just don't know that it's gonna make that play as exciting as I want it to be.
Another obvious question of this, because we didn't get the answer, is backup QB. We want to know who the backup QB is going to be. They've held their cards close to the vest, but that is an either-or situation, whereas a lot of other things are just a matter of splitting snaps. We're going to see who's going to start at safety. To me, though, is defensive end rotation. Is Chase Young? How many snaps a game is Chase Young? Is Cam Jordan as much of a defensive tackle now as he is a defensive end? Is Granderson an every down guy? We charted that every day in practice. Now that you got to win a game, does it just become all the Chase Young it can handle? I'm interested to see that. For sure.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We're going to hit a quick break, and when we come back, we will wrap up this Week 1 coverage and more on NewOrleans.Football.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana. They were founded in 1980 and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. And Total Maintenance wants to show some love to our NOF listeners. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. It will never increase. Total Maintenance has a tune-up special running this summer for $79, down from the normal price of $179. This is a one-time offer for one system only. They also offer a free diagnostic on second opinions on units deemed to be unrepairable. And they offer free estimates for replacements as well as commercial maintenance programs. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience.
Score big with kickoff combos at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Comes with fried shrimp and your choice of soft-shell crab traditional or our famous thin-fried catfish, all served with garlic herb fries, starting at only $10.99. Only at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of stepping into your dream home. At Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, we can help make that dream a reality with a team dedicated to you. When you partner with Jefferson Financial, you do so for the life of the loan. Having a single point of contact when questions arise is invaluable. Our experts are here to guide you every step of the way. There's no better time to invest in your future. Apply online at jeffersonfinancial.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails. Wall-to-wall, state-of-the-art TVs mean you'll see every touchdown, Hail Mary, and big turnover in crystal clear HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino in Baton Rouge, where every moment is a win.
Welcome back to the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio. It's time for our next segment, guys. Let's go into our next segment presented by the Louisiana Lottery. Who's generating, Mike, this is for you, the most fantasy buzz for the Saints after week 1? Will people realize that they drafted Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara too low? Or will somebody like Rashid Shaheed emerge and they say, hey, we should have got this guy along with Taysom and Juwan?
Yeah, I mean, do they have an Isaiah Likely on this team that you're like, oh, shoot, this guy's the whole offense. Yeah. We were never talking about it. I am interested, like Nick said. I mean, that was really interesting to me last night, is to see some people bring out there, like, there's Xavier Worthy playing. Like, I wonder if their writers even saw those plays in camp or if they were hidden from them, but they couldn't wait to use them. And what was the one? Who's the guy that was hiding behind the line? Was on the Ravens 4th down play and everything? They were hiding the guy behind the line, and then they blew it with the block. Was that Zay Flowers hiding back there? But so I'm curious what they have up their sleeve. But I'm just going to go with I think it's Chris Olave. I mean, I think we talked about how he could maybe get 100 catches. He could maybe get 1,300 yards in this game. I just think they're going to feed Chris Olave. I think he's going to have 5 catches by halftime. I think he's going to have, he might have 10 catches in the game, and everybody's going to be like, why wasn't I drafting him where I was drafting Garrett Wilson and Devontae? Like, yeah. I just, until I see different, I think we're just going to see them target the hell out of Chris Olave in this offense.
Is that where how far under is he going than Garrett Wilson?
I think he was like 3rd round pick, and those guys were going like 12, 13 turn.
Hold on.
Let me pull up an ADP.
I remember my brother, he called me a couple weeks back when he was drafting. He was like, hey, man, should I get Chris? I was like, yeah, bro. He's basically like the Saints receiver.
See, I use Evan Silva. Evan Silva's my
you got a plug, yeah.
He's my fantasy guru. I text with him all the time. That's the only person I talk to about fantasy stuff. He had Olave ranked ahead of Garrett Wilson, so I'm unaware of. Like,
that's rare.
So I might be the person that's taken Olave before everybody else. I don't even look at the ESPN rankings, but he had Olave at 13 ahead of Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore. So his I'm not going to give away his whole list here. But
sure, no.
But you know what they call that?
What's that?
A ball knower.
A what?
A ball knower.
Oh yeah.
Just a ball knower. Hold on, I'm looking at.
Evans won me like 8 different leagues over the years. So I mean, if
ball knower, bro,
sign up for ETR, man.
So maybe I gave a chalk answer there. I'm going to give a chalk answer later. Spoiler alert. I'm looking at he was 23.3 overall in ESPN. CBS. No, 46.4. No, that can't be. That can't be right. If that's right, then they're way off. Anyway, Olave is my pick. Who you guys got? Is this the Taysom answer?
I mean, Taysom's a decent.
He's a good pick.
Taysom was kind of the guy. I got him in a league after all the other tight ends went, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to wait on. I got him, and I wasn't mad about it. I felt okay about it.
You read NewOrleans.Football's fantasy strategy article where I said that's a cheat code.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like boom or bust, like it's fine. Like some weeks he might not get you the number, but some weeks he's going to get you a huge number. I feel like there's going to be a pretty decent little baseline here. I think one area where it might hurt is that like you might not get like the point per reception, but I think he's going to get you some stats, some yardage, and I like the possibility for touchdowns. Like, he might end up scoring more touchdowns on most of these tight ends.
I bet he always finishes in the top 10, and I bet he will again this year.
Like Kincaid's the guy I wanted badly at that position in every draft, but if I didn't get him, I was fine waiting
and getting Taysom.
You're my fantasy plug, so I'm rolling with Olave on that one.
Juwan, any love for Juwan here? No, like
not right now.
Not yet.
Does he get himself on the radar that he was supposed to be on last year?
Not right now.
No.
He might.
You the one that had Juwan up there last year.
He might, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say right now.
Yeah. I'd rather have Taysom. I really would.
I would too.
I feel like the upside's higher there. There's always a possibility that Juwan turns back and he becomes their red zone threat, and if he does, make the quick adjustment. But right now, I'm fine waiting and seeing.
Yep.
Yeah. Shaheed's another one. I mean, I wonder if he missed some time and that slows him out of the game plan. But Shaheed's another one who I think is going to burst onto the scene at some point. I don't know if it's right away in week 1. But.
Sure. Let's get into our next segment presented by Urban South. Let's continue with the predictions. The first NFC regular season matchup is tonight between the Eagles and the Packers in Brazil. Before they play that, let's go through and nail in our picks for NFC playoff predictions. Let's start off with you, Nick.
Would that game change your picks at all?
Nah, son.
No? So I'm going, is it division winners, Lions, Eagles, 49ers? I was going to take the Bucs here, and then I changed it, and I went back to the Saints. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the division. I have no idea. I feel like 9 wins gets you it. I've been on 9 wins with the Saints the whole entire offseason, so I'm rolling with them here. I think it's a coin flip between any of the 3 teams minus Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Falcons, Saints, or Bucs, but I went Saints here. And then my wild card teams, I'm going Cowboys, Packers, Rams.
Mine is very chalk-like. Our only difference is the NFC South. I mean, we picked different division winners. I had Eagles over Cowboys and Packers over Lions, but then you had them both in the wild card. We're both wrong. Because every year in the NFL, like, isn't it like at least 6 teams like change every year? And are we both picking 6 repeat teams? I think Rams made it last year, Cowboys, Packers, Eagles, all made it, right? Lions, 49ers.
Yeah.
So we're both picking 6 repeat teams in the NFC, and I just couldn't see it any other way. I mean, I believe in the Rams and think they actually underachieved a little to sneak into the playoffs. I'm not picking against the Cowboys and Eagles. I'm not picking against the Lions and Packers. I'm not picking against the Niners. So some of these teams are probably going to drop off, and I couldn't. And I'd love to pick a sleeper team. I believe in the Seahawks, or I believe in the Bears, or I just don't. I think these 6 are a notch above.
The Eagles finished so weird last year. Yeah. I could see it flipping on them. The Packers could definitely be a team that's overhyped right now. They weren't that strong last year. I'm not going to publicly say what I think about the Lions because I was so wrong about the Lions last year.
I was so wrong last year.
But I'm just leaving the Lions alone. I think Cowboys will probably be there. The Rams weren't a juggernaut last year, but if they get Kupp healthy and everything, I think they have a chance to be pretty good. The only team I feel great about is the 49ers.
Yes. No, that's fair. I'm just saying I couldn't find my take this team out to make room for the Vikings. Let's ask this in a second unless B puts one in. But anyway, I did pick the Falcons. Look, I'm not just trying to hop on a bandwagon with anyone else, but I think they're a favorite for a reason. I mean, I think the Buccaneers and Saints were a hair above the Falcons last year, but they addressed the quarterback position, and that might put them ahead. They also just added Judon and Justin Simmons to shore up their questionable defense. I'm okay with labeling them as the favorite. I've been picking the Saints to go 8-9, so I guess I'm picking the Falcons to go 9-8.
I see you. Let's go to my list where I have the 49ers, the Lions, the Eagles.
Damn,
the
2
Saints.
teams from the South.
That's right.
Whoa.
The Falcons, the Cowboys, and the Packers.
Who did you leave out?
Now, I thought I was being
Rams.
Yeah, I left out the Rams because they traded Ernest Jones.
Sure. Aaron
Donald is not there anymore. I was surprised y'all went with them. I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Fair.
But, I mean, the 49ers, known product. You know what they're about. They've been here before. They're healthy. They're good. The Lions, I might be stupid, but I believe. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I believe in them this year. The Eagles, I think they turn it around. I thought I was wilding by putting the Saints as the division winners. It's happy to see that you went along with me.
Yeah, right.
I mean.
Well, you got them winning like 10 if you got the Falcons going.
No. Relax.
They could both be 9-8.
I got them. Yeah, I got it as one of those type of situations. I got the Saints winning the division. Sticking with my 9. The Falcons, I have them also on the list, but that's not the team that I'm most waffling. That's a phrase that I picked up from you during one of those overtime segments. It's really the Cowboys because you never know with Dallas, man. You can't put no trailer on Dallas's hitch because it might fall apart on the interstate on you. You just never know. So maybe JD5 can make something happen in Washington, but then they just traded away Jahan Dotson, so you never know what their skill is really like. The Packers, they just don't have the skilled players to be able to kind of make all of that noise. So that's why I have those as my wild card picks.
That was bold. Way to go, bold.
Yeah,
if you were going to put a non-playoff team from last year in, Nick, other than the Saints, who would it be? I would have thought you as an Arizona Cardinals man.
Well, they won 4 games last year. So I can't go.
Let's be real.
I can't get there with you.
Can't do it for the Commanders. Can't do it for the Giants.
Maybe the
Bears,
Seahawks. The Seahawks.
Seahawks
would probably
That's
be there.
originally who I had in for the
Seahawks.
Falcons. But I said, new coach, I kind of know what I'm getting with Geno Smith, and then you lose some of the skill. So that's why I took them off and put the Falcons on.
I've seen the Bears in a lot.
People love the Bears.
I'm not there with the Bears. I got to see something a little bit different. I don't know. They went 7-10 last year, though, but maybe.
Yeah, Seahawks would be my next one in.
I don't know. I guess it's not that insane to have 2 teams from the South League. There was a 9-win team. Who made it last year?
Couple 9-win teams last year. The Packers were a 9-win wild card last year. The Texans were a 9-win.
In the NFC, it was just one. It was just one. I think it was just. It was just them. So
no, Rams might have been a 9-win team last year.
They won 10 last year.
Did they win 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. All right. I mean, the South is so wide open that it could be anyone. It's just kind of taking the devil I know instead of the one I don't.
That's
know?
real.
Yeah.
That's real. I'm taking the seatbelt. I'm not fastening it. I'm taking it and tying it because if last night is any indicator, this is going to be a wild season. They lost the game for more reasons than that, but it came down to a big toe.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going to happen. I'm living on the edge, baby. I'm living on the edge.
Good for you. Going out on a limb today.
Let's get into our next segment, which is the Martin Wine and Spirits question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrels like bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's so much more than just wine. Today's Friday, so we have 2 questions. Today's first question comes from R.C. Bean. What's the worst thing that could happen this season? Is it a mediocre record again that keeps the Saints in purgatory?
I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. And I can't tell them not to feel that way. I mean, if they go 9-8 or 8-9 again and miss the playoffs for the 4th straight year and then have the 14th pick again, and all these guys like DeMario and Cam get a year older, I think that's the hardest thing to sell to the fans. I mean, I think 5-12 is worse than 9-8. But
yeah, me too.
But I understand people feeling that way, and if they do that, they're going to bring back Dennis Allen. They're going to bring Derek Carr, and they're going to try again next year because they're close. So I get it. But I can't call that the worst thing, but I understand where the question comes from.
Yeah, I think the worst thing is being legitimately bad, having no hope, and this thing getting torn down. And then all it takes is a bad pick to set you back multiple years when you're in that situation. They're already set back, I think, years by some of the bad picks they've made. Now, what if you're desperately needing that to be and you draft Trevor Penning? And that could very easily happen. I mean, they've missed on enough
Look at the
picks.
Panthers. We just talked about it. Ike Ekwonu and Bryce Young 2 years in a row, and it hasn't gotten them anywhere yet.
Yeah, Bryce Young might turn it around, but he might not. Yeah. Or you draft Sam Darnold, or you draft, there's just so many bad picks that are up high. Everybody's shooting in the dark. It's a... 4 years. I started covering the team in 14, and starting with the 15 draft, I said, draft a quarterback high, draft a quarterback high, draft a quarterback high, draft a quarterback high. Then the reaction every single time was, why would you do that? Drew's still in his prime. It's a stupid pick, a wasted pick. You can find the quarterback when it's over. All right. How'd that go? So I don't think that these things that are romantic ideas, when it isn't reality, it's different. When it's actually your reality and you're trying to draft your way out of hell, it's not easy to get out. So I would be reluctant to hope for that outcome. And I get it. I think if you have a top 5 pick, it's a lot more exciting. Yeah. I would love to cover a top 5 pick. I would love to cover that process. I will fool myself into believing that was going to be the game show. Oh, the quarterback, that's just the way it goes. But then you get 2 years out, and sometimes reality doesn't change. And for a lot of teams, it doesn't. Most of the guys aren't Caleb Williams, and we don't know that Caleb Williams is going to hit either. But it's usually not C.J. Stroud. It usually is Bryce Young, and it's just a tough place to exist.
I think no hope is the worst. Being bad is like, because you had a 2-part answer. Being bad is bad, but no hope, like all the position groups, which I don't think they will, just being bad. It's just it just gets bad. It gets bad to cover that.
The beginning of bad is hopeful. The reality of this is actually bad, that's where it's hopeless. When you're stuck in the middle, you feel like that's hopeless. But I think being 3 years into being bad without an actual way out, and then now they're changing the GM and the college scouting director and the coach for a second time. Like, that's when you're in actual hell. And that's not a place you want to be. There's teams that are actually in that, and that's not a good place to exist. I mean, I would be very reluctant to want to go there. Like right now, yeah, sure. The Commanders feel great. They got Jaden Daniels, but it's been a long road, and who knows? Like, who knows if that's actually going to work? I would bet on him working, but I don't know. Maybe you don't put all the pieces around it. It's just a tough place. Being the Commanders is not what you want to. You don't want to exist there. Like,
peak hell right now,
huh?
Is that peak hell right now?
I mean, they got hope right now because they got the new quarterback.
Panthers right now.
I would say it's Vegas.
Vegas?
No, because I think Vegas has a good defense. I wouldn't say it's Vegas. The Titans, maybe? The Titans are spiraling.
They got Will Levis.
New York might be.
But the thing about Will Levis is
they got Aaron
we'll find out.
No, not that.
You know who's in actual hell?
The Giants.
You know who feels like they're in peak hell right now? And they might have a beacon of hope. I think the Patriots might have the worst situation right now.
It's tough.
They really might.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's the worst team in the NFL right now.
We're going to find out.
I heard a theory, I'm probably stealing this from Bill Simmons, but that naming Jacoby Brissett the starter there, I did hear the coach said that Drake May's like the best quarterback on the roster or playing the best football, but a lot goes into it, and naming Jacoby Brissett the starter was an admission that the offensive line is so bad that Drake May, it would set him back.
Yeah.
So they're keeping Drake May's the better quarterback, and they're not using him because their team is too bad to use him. Like, that's rough.
I'd throw the Giants up as a candidate too.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, the Giants are up there because you're paying all that money to different, and then you're not getting any return off of it. So that's a bad place to be. Next question is from Mike Wood. Juwan missed much of camp, and wide receiver depth appears thin. Does this mean that they get AK and Taysom more involved in the passing game?
Probably. I mean, where more catches going to come from? I mean, I think Olave and Shaheed are both going to go way up. I think AK is going to be heavily involved. I'm curious to know how heavily involved Taysom is. Is Cedric Wilson part of that mix? Do they mix in some, does Foster get a little more? I just think it'll be a little more for everyone across the board. Taysom had 30 catches last year. You think he's even more involved in the passing game this year?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I'm not expecting Juwan's wings to be clipped this week either, really. I think he's going to be involved. Yeah. I do. I think AK is going to be involved. I don't expect Taysom to be a huge part of it, but we're shooting at this blind right now. We have nothing to base. There's no trends. It's zero. Right. It's literally starting at zero. And I'm excited to see it.
Who finishes fourth on the team in catches this year? Juwan, probably. I mean, there's three we feel good about: Olave, Shaheed, Alvin.
Yeah, probably Juwan.
Juwan fourth.
Juwan would be my choice.
Who's fifth? Cedric Wilson, Taysom Hill, A.T. Perry.
I'll go A.T.
Okay.
Say it. Give me say it.
Cedric?
Yeah, give me say it. I'll go say it.
Who you taking?
I guess I'll go Ced. I think he'll be on the field a lot. Yeah. I think we're talking what? To be that person, you got to get 35 catches.
We don't know in this Kubiak offense.
Yeah, we don't.
Yep. That'll do it for this episode of NewOrleans.Football. We appreciate y'all for stopping in. If you're a member, stick in here because we have overtime next. And if you're not, get in here before the Panthers game because we have a lot of good things. We have the pregame show. We have our postgame show. Make sure you're locked in. Catch you next time.